Hey everyone, it's Joshua with Live For You Counseling. I'm going to start off today a little bit differently. I'm going to share a personal story about myself. So, ever since I was a kid, I've loved scary movies. I'm not going to bore you by sharing all of the films that I've watched, but as I've grown older, I've kind of weaned myself off of the films because of the shock factor. It's just going further and further than I would like. So recently, I did watch Terrifier 3, spoiler alert. It wasn't the scariest film I've ever watched, but it crossed every boundary that I had. So I really wasn't ready for the film. Anyway, there's this scene where Art the Clown dresses up as Santa Claus and he gives some innocent children a box, and unfortunately, the box does explode and it just turns into this twisted horror. So what was meant to be this joyous event just becomes this nightmare. So I can't imagine any healthy adult doing anything like what Art did. Yet I know that there are many people who are plagued by intrusive thoughts, not of actually wanting to do these sorts of things, but thoughts that just will not relent, where they're afraid that they'll do something to harm others. So that brings us to our topic today of Harm OCD. Harm OCD is a painful and misunderstood subtype of OCD. In this video today, we're going to break down what it is, why it feels so overwhelming, and what actually can be done about it. Really quick, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel, Live For You, where we're building a strong mental health community, where we foster the supports that you need to be your authentic self and to live the life that you deserve to have. So what exactly is Harm OCD? Harm OCD happens when someone experiences intrusive thoughts about causing harm to others or even themselves. These thoughts are unwanted, they're distressing, and they're completely out of sync with the person's values. So instead of reflecting who you are, they spark fear, shame, and guilt. Here's the key. Having harm-related intrusive thoughts does not mean you're actually dangerous. In fact, research shows that almost 1 in 3 people will experience harm-related obsessions at some point in their life. So that's a lot of people and very common. So let's break down the cycle of Harm OCD. So again, it's like where this nightmare really takes hold. So people with Harm OCD are stuck in this cycle of obsessions, like in OCD, of intrusive, violent, and harmful thoughts. Some examples might be, what if I crashed my car into a pole? What if I stabbed my spouse in their sleep? Even, what if I suffocate my baby, right? And these things are very disturbing. And then, as with OCD related disorders, compulsions follow. A compulsion might be, okay, I'm going to avoid knives, I'm going to avoid driving, I'm going to make sure that my baby is breathing. So doing all these mental checks and repeating in our heads, self-talk, mental talk to cancel out the negative thoughts. Again, it's like this nightmare loop is perpetuated, right? So there are some key things to remember when we're dealing with this. The first is our thoughts are just thoughts. Here's some perspective. The average person has over 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of mental noise, right? And not all the thoughts are relevant. So for people with OCD, the problem isn't having the thoughts. It's the way the brain grabs hold on certain thoughts and won't let go. This can turn into magical thinking, where you believe, if I think it, it might happen. But here's the truth. A thought is just a thought. It carries no power unless you act upon it. Harm OCD does not make you dangerous. And this is crucial. Having Harm OCD does not make you a danger to anyone. People with Harm OCD are actually some of the least likely to act on violent thoughts, precisely because those thoughts horrify them. It's the complete opposite of individuals with real violent intent, where there's no anxiety, where there's actually pleasure in doing those things. So a key thing to take away is, with violent related thoughts, for people with Harm OCD, it's going to evoke anxiety. And that brings us to another term of ego dystonic, which means that something's going against my values. And then the opposite of that would be egocentric. It aligns with my values. So people with OCD often have ego dystonic thoughts, where these thoughts are just prevalently going against what it is that they know to be true and what is consistent to who they are. That's why the anxiety revs up. And it's sometimes because of how fused our minds are to these thoughts. It's like we feel like, is this who I really am? If I'm having these thoughts, maybe I am that way, but you're not. Again, those thoughts are ego dystonic, they're not you. So what actually helps with dealing with these issues? The first thing I want to say is getting professional help. It's so important that you talk to a licensed professional that specializes in treating OCD, because they can help equip you with the tools that you need to deal with it. Secondly, as I said earlier, our thoughts are just thoughts. Just because you're thinking these things does not make you a bad person. And then along the lines of going to therapy, we would engage in exposure ERP therapy, which is a form of therapy that helps us to deal with our obsessions and compulsions. So exposure and prevention response therapy is a type of therapy that helps us to be able to deal with the triggers that we have, so that we are not feeding the loop of compulsions, and we're actually facing head on through a gradual pacing with our therapist's help of confronting these fears, so that they lose their power and our brain isn't grabbing onto everything. Another thing that I'll say is helpful is finding community. There are different OCD support groups out there, and even OCD counseling groups that you can join. I'm not sure where exactly all of them are to your particular area, but maybe partner with your counselor to see if your counselor knows of any support groups or therapeutic groups, because there is strength in numbers, and there's just something powerful about uniting with people with other shared experiences to ours, because they can help us gain perspective, and sometimes it's just empowering to hear other stories, right? With all of that being said, remember that despite the challenges that you're having with OCD, there is hope. It's just work getting there, but you take it day by day, and then you take the necessary steps to partner with a mental health professional that is trained in that area. With the evidence-based treatment model for OCD and with additional supports, you have the potential to get better and to improve the areas that OCD has impaired in your life. With that being said, if this video has at all spoken to you, if it's resonated with you, please do yourself a favor and like and subscribe to this channel, and share this video with anyone that you feel will be blessed by it. So until next time, please remember that you are not your thoughts.